The sports card hobby is often focused on the chase and the hunt. What are you trying to get? What are you trying to acquire? But in the season of Thanksgiving, I wanted to just enjoy 5 cards that I have in my collection and what they mean to me and the things that they remind me of. Stick around.
It's a long fly ball deep to right. Way back! It's gone! Home run! How about that?
Boom! Nakalaka!
Marino is right on target. We are live from the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida. There's a sellout crowd, of course.
Oh, did you just call it? And he does!
Welcome back once again to Base is Beautiful. My name is MD, and this is the week of Thanksgiving. I have taken off the full week and gonna spend some time with my family, rest and relax a little bit, and also work on a handful of projects I have around the house. One of the projects that I've had on my list for a while is to sort through and reorganize a lot of my cards, because I don't know about y'all, but oftentimes I'm not always diligent to put things back where they need to go or to make sure things are staying organized. Especially once I started the channel, I've kind of not been very diligent in getting everything put back correctly. So I've got stacks of cards all over my bedroom and in my closet, and I just need to get everything into a spot more permanently. So last night I sat down to start looking through the first part of that project, and I just started looking through cards, and you know, that was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed my collection, and it reminded me, the whole point of the Thanksgiving holiday is to have gratitude, to be content with what we have. You know, the sports card hobby is so much driven oftentimes by what we're chasing, what we're looking for, what we're trying to acquire. But to take a little pause and to stop and to look at what you have is really good. And so, you know, as I was looking through my collection, I just started to think about what my collection means to me and things that I'm grateful for connected with that. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, kind of from a little bit different perspective today. These are not necessarily at all, not even necessarily, these are not at all my favorite cards in my collection, but each one kind of means something different to me. This 1972 to 73 basketball card of Johnny Newman. At one point early on in my collecting, I kind of thought I might jump down the 72 collecting rabbit hole. It's a really cool looking set with the design on it, and I really like the look of those cards. This card in particular is from a player who played right down the road, about an hour away from where I live at Ole Miss. And he went to the Memphis Tams. Now, the Tams were the ABA, the American Basketball Association team. Now, why do I care about this card at all? Well, when I was learning about the ABA and some of the different teams connected with that, there was a guy in my church that I started texting with, and he's an older man, and a friend of my parents, and I've been friends with him too, but we just started having a conversation about basketball in the 70s and things he liked growing up, and he remembers, he was a big Ole Miss fan, so he remembers when Johnny Newman left early to go play for Memphis, and he remembers the Tams games being broadcast. The Tams, there were several different names that the team took on. The Tams means Tennessee, Arkansas, and Mississippi. It's because Memphis is right there on the corner of Western Tennessee, and it touches all 3 of those states. So it was a weird thing that they did. But I mentioned this card just because I have a lot of friends who are really not interested in sports at all. And they oftentimes are very denigrating of sports and act like, well, it's just kind of stupid, it's pointless, it's arbitrary. There is a physical accomplishment sometimes, but it's not worth all the attention that it gets in society today. But this Johnny Newman card just reminds me of the cross-generational aspect that sports brings, that connects younger people to older people and can give a point of camaraderie and connection and excitement. And I just appreciate that. And I've gained that a lot by being in the hobby and collecting things from different eras and seeing people with different age ranges and different points of emphasis in their collection, things that they enjoy collecting. And so just that card reminds me of that. This is Don Mattingly's 1981 minor league card. When he played for the Nashville Sounds. It's labeled a 1981 Arby's card. Boom, you got the big Arby's logo right there in the corner. And on the back, America's roast beef, yes sir. So in addition to making me hungry, this card is just a really fun addition to my collection. I'm not really chasing a lot of Don Mattingly cards. I had a number of his cards as a kid, and I've got his rookie card and some things like that in my collection now. But this was the first kind of off the beaten path card that I went after when I was getting back into card collecting a couple years ago. And, something about me early on is that I was not trying to spend a whole lot of money in the collection. So to spend more than $10 or $15 on a card was a pretty big deal. But I decided, I don't know how I ended up on this path, but I found this card on my own. No one that I was watching on YouTube had it and were talking about it and introducing me to the card that way. But I guess I was searching Don Mattingly cards or something. This one came up, and I started looking for an opportunity to buy his minor league card. I love the picture on it. Of course, I love the Arby's logo. I don't know. I really like this card a lot, and it's not really an oddball card, but it was an oddball card for me at that point, and continues to be so because I'm not trying to build a whole Don Mattingly run, at least not currently. So it's just, it doesn't really have a pair. It doesn't have other cards that it's connected with. It just kind of lives by itself. And but every time I see it, I'm happy. I enjoy seeing it. And so it kind of speaks to the innocence of the hobby, and you like what you like, and you just connect with stuff in different ways. And so, I spent over $40, between $40 and $50 probably on the card at the time. And I love that it's a part of my collection. Well, I've mentioned before that I'm trying to collect the entire set of 1992 Score autographed. And when I was getting into it, I learned, of course, that there's players who are signing through the mail. And there's a handful of Hall of Famers who do. And Larry Walker is actually one of those. And in contrast to a lot of other Hall of Famers who would be in heavy demand, he limits it, I think, to one card, and it usually takes him a little while to sign it, but he also doesn't charge anything. And I wasn't sure if he was still in his current signing cycle. Some of these guys are signing for a little while and then they're not, and you're always a little unsure when you send off a card for TTM through the mail autographs. You're always a little unsure about if you will get that card back or not. But it did come back, and Larry Walker gave me a personalized inscription, also inscribed Hall of Fame 2020. He's got a beautiful signature. And it's just a reminder that that there's guys like this, and even though they are some of the greats of the game from their era, taking the time to sign autographs for fans, and even in this case, not charging for it, but just very genuinely in his own time, as he has the motivation to do it, just going through and signing some cards for people. And I appreciate that there's guys in the hobby who used to play the sport who will sign cards through the mail, and that you can have a lot of fun building a collection even through just TTM. And even though TTM isn't a major focus for me currently, I've had a lot of fun doing it, and there's rewarding things like this where I get a personalized inscription back on a card that's a key part of my collection. I didn't see a whole lot of Larry Walker. I don't remember him a whole lot as a kid when he was playing, but and I didn't. And this wasn't a really sought after card in my collection too. Even among the Hall of Famers, he was probably lower on the list of what I was seeking after. But to get that back, it increased my desire to participate and to enjoy and to collect. And so, that one means a lot to me just from that perspective. Well, this is I think it's the 1966 Koufax. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe this is his last playing year. And this is, well, first of all, it's an amazing portrait of Koufax. You get that tight shot on his face. He's looking directly at the camera. He's a little older at this point. And of course, as many people have noted, he didn't have the longest of careers, but he burned very brightly while he was playing. And so there's two things about this. First of all, this was my first vintage card to purchase when I got into the hobby. And the reason that I wanted something Koufax is because my dad, his favorite player was Sandy Koufax. He talked about that when he was a kid. And, I just kind of looked through the Koufax cards and found the one that I liked the look of the most, and I just love this portrait. And so at some point I'll probably get this graded just so I can have it slabbed up. But this reminds me about how grateful I am for my dad, and the joy of the hobby that kind of gets passed down, and loving the sport as a kid, and you have that connection as a boy with his dad. And I hope that my son has some of those connection points with me as he's growing up over these years. So then the last card I just want to highlight today is this 1983 top sticker of Joe Montana with his autograph on it. Now, this was a Christmas present from my wife this past Christmas. I was starting to get into football cards and thinking, I just want an autograph of Joe Montana on something from 1983. And I like the 83 Topps cards well enough, but when I was seeing these stickers, I just loved the photograph on them even more than the look on the 83 Topps base cards. So seeing this one, that became the request I made. As you can see, it's a little smaller size than your typical baseball card in there, but it's a beautiful card, and I love the autograph on it, and I appreciate that she got it for me. And So each of these cards kind of reflects something different that I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for connections with older generations. I'm grateful for the eccentricity that the hobby can bring out. I'm grateful that players are willing to connect with fans, even at personal cost or the expense of time or just focus, mental energy, and all that. I'm grateful for my dad and the connection that I have with him. And it's not all sports related, but some of it has been in recent years, and he watches the channel and appreciate that. And then I'm grateful for my wife and that she's supportive of me and in the hobby and not frustrated that I collect cards or anything, but we're able to, when I get something new, I show it to her and she appreciates seeing those things, and we talk about why things are graded a certain way and how beautiful or interesting or unique certain cards are and things like that. So anyway, those are some things that I'm grateful for, and I just wanted to reflect on that here in a little video. So I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving with your family and that you enjoy some contentedness within the hobby as you look at the many things that you've acquired over the years, and just take some time to look through them and enjoy them for what they are. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Montana to Rice. He's